Hi, welcome back to another episode of creating a Trello clone using the Neat Stack technology. So anyway, like as usual, before we begin, we will create a new branch. So we are in the past episode, we are on part 8. So let's create a part 9 branch. So git check out -p part 09. Okay, and let's do okay. Again, before we begin, between the last episode and this, the Angular team has released version 10, and our project is actually on Angular version 9. Angular 10 has got some improvements in it. I'll let you read through this. You can just Google this article. To upgrade is actually relatively simple. We will perform an update of the core libraries as well as the CLI. So this is what we do. Okay, so we type ng. So in our Angular project here, you type ng update and then add Angular CLI and add Angular core. Okay, so notice that this is version 10 and our project is version 9. The update process will run through all the libraries and will perform update. And this can take some time. What I'll do is I'll pause the video and I will return when the update is complete. Okay, welcome back. On my machine, the upgrade took about 5 minutes, 6 minutes maybe. Okay, I'm not on SSD drive, so perhaps if you're on SSD drive, the upgrade will be faster. So let's just this is the report that the upgrade has produced, and these are the packages that were upgraded. Let's run our new application to see if there are any issues with it. Okay, let's try that. Close this. We do a reload of this guy, and notice that our application. Okay, so no problem at all. Right. So back to our application. So what we are going to do in this episode, it's that now we can create new bots. What we would like to do is this: we would like to save the bot that we have created across browser restart. Okay, so if we close our browser and we open it again, whatever we have created should still be around. So how are we going to do that? As it turns out, on the browser, there is a there are a few uh, there are a few databases or storages. Of course, you have cookies, which you can store data. Cookies are set by the server, by a web application, and then there are databases like the local storage and session storage. Local storage and session storage are essentially a key value pair data store, and they can only store string data. And then we have finally we have another database called IndexedDB, and this is a full-fledged database, very similar to Mongo. Whatever you store in whatever data that you store into IndexedDB, the data is persistent, and also you can have different types instead of like a local storage where you can only store string. IndexedDB allows you to store data types like string, numbers, etc. Okay, to use IndexedDB, to use the native JavaScript IndexedDB API is a little bit challenging because it's quite cumbersome. What we will be doing is that we will be using a wrapper, a library, an excellent library called dexie.js, which wraps the IndexedDB database. Okay. In the last episode, what we did was this: we have created a model for our data. Okay, so that's the model, right? And if you notice that we have actually our application, Angular application, is able to populate this information, right? So the title, the created by, comments, and description, priority, etc. These two pieces of information has not been created, has not been captured. What we will do is this in this episode, before saving this data into IndexedDB, we will generate the ID, and we will also put in the insertion date. Okay, I've got this. This is created on. Okay, we will put in the insertion date. Okay, so I'm going to keep this up, and then we are going to go ahead and work with dexie.js. So to work with dexie.js, what we will do is that we will be installing. We need to install the library. So we will go npm install dexie. We will use UUID. We will use the UUID package to generate the ID for us. Okay. What I would like to also do is to dexie.js has got type definition for TypeScript UUID. We need to install it separately, which I will do now. Okay, so now we can restart our application. Right, so we'll close this, so we can do a refresh of this, and everything should still be working fine. Right, so how are we going to do this? What we'll do is this: we will implement the database as an Angular service, and the Angular service is like a component, like an Angular component, except that it doesn't have a UI. Okay, and the other thing about Angular service is this: it is it has a scope. It's typically, for our case, it will be scoped to a module. So all the components in one module will share a single instance. Okay, so this is what we'll do. We will create the persistence. We can create the Dixie, the IndexedDB service as and scope it to the entire application, or scope it to the keyboard. So currently, I would like to just scope it to the smallest possible module, which is keyboard. So I will create the module, the service inside the keyboard directory. So this is what we do. You create a file called keyboard service. You can call this anything. Just like to call it service. Okay. By the way, you can also generate this using the Angular CLI. I just like to type it out. And what we'll do is this: we'll import from at Angular call the injectable. Okay. Then we'll create a class called keyboard service. And then to make this into a service, what we will do is this: we will annotate the class with injectable. Okay, right? And then what we will do is this: we will create a constructor like so. Okay, right? To make this, so we need to use the dexie.js. To use dexie.js, or we will the keyboard service will extend from the Dixie class. So before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to import Dixie class from the Dixie.js package library. Okay, and then what we do is that we will extend Dixie like so. Okay, so in the constructor, we need to call super. Oops. We need to call super, and we need to give it a name. So this thing here kbot is the database name. Okay, it's the database name. Now we need to create the schema. Okay, or the collections or tables, what have you. To do that, you go this, okay, version. So you're saying what version of the schema this is going to be. You give a number, so this is going to be version 1, and then we'll say stores. This is the stores, the tables or the collection, if you like. Okay, so you give the name of the collection. So I'm going to call this collection bots, followed by a string. The string here is to specify. So the IndexedDB database is like MongoDB. It is schemaless. However, you do need to specify the index or the primary key, okay, for it to index. So in our case, if you look back at here, this is our bot. Our index is going to be the bot ID. By the way, you can index anything. You can index bot ID plus the title ID, etc. Okay. You can also create auto increment indexes, etc. So you can look at the IndexedDB documentation for that. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to say the bot ID is the index. Okay. So the next thing I would like to do is this. I would like to create a reference to this document, and this is what we do. I'll make this private. Bots. Okay. Dixie table. Okay. And this bot is going to hold this data, the kbot interface. So I'll say kbot. Okay, I don't have it yet. Doesn't matter. I'll import it in. Okay, like so. Now, what I'll do is this. I will say this bots equals to, okay, this table, okay, the name of the table, which is bots. So this table here is this name here. Okay, so that's it, right? To make this into a service, what we need to do is this. We need to tell the module that this is the service. So this is where the scoping comes in. As of Angular version 8, I think, you can specify what Angular course provide. You can specify the provider here, something like this, provided in. Okay, and then you can say root or etc. So for example, like this. Okay, oops, like this. Okay, so okay, what I would like is this. I don't like to specify the provider in here. I like to do it at the module. The reason is because when I look at the module, I know exactly what are the services in that module. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to scope this to my kbot module. So here, so in the ng module decorator, add a new attribute called providers. And what we'll do is this. We'll just say kbot service. Okay, like that. And I will import that here. Service. Like that. Okay. So now, where Angular will create an instance of the service, kbot service, and all the components and services in this module will share this single instance. Okay. So that's my service. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is this. I'm going to add a method to to add new bots into the database. So I'll create a method called add bot. Okay, and if you recall, let me just put this here first. If you recall, from our component, okay, so we're going to add the bot here, right? We are receiving a partial kbot from the kbot control, kbot component. Okay, so the kbot component, when you click enter here, when you click create, okay, will fire. Where is it? Okay, will fire. So this value here will fire a partial kbot. Okay, so come back to the service here. Okay, right? So we will say the bot here is a partial kbot object. Okay. However, our bot, our document is a bot. So what we need to do is this. The first thing we do is this. We will create the bot ID first. This bot ID will generate from the UUID. We will go to import the UUID. Okay. There are different versions of UUID. I'm just going to use the version 4. And we won't use the entire UUID because it's pretty long. I'll just use the first eight characters. So I'll say UUID version 4 substring. I'll take the first 8 character. The second thing that I'm going to need is the created on. So this is just a date. I'm going to just go get date for that. Okay. So now what I'll do is this. I will now create the bot, the actual bot itself, which is of type kbot. Okay. So we'll go bot ID and created on here. Okay. Because this is a partial, we cannot use the spread operator like that. Okay, so partial makes all the attributes. So here, this will complain and say that some of these attributes are missing. Partial makes all the attributes, all the fields in the interface as optional. So it's a bit of a pain. What we need to do is this: we need to manually add that in. So title, and then the next one is created by. Okay, and then comments. Okay, and then cards. For cards, we can say b cards. Okay, if we have the cards, we will return the card. Otherwise, we're going to return an empty array. Okay, so now what we will do is this: we will go this bot. We'll use this collection here, the table here, and then we'll say add. Okay, and then we can say add a bot. So what this will do is this: this add here will return a promise. The promise will return the primary key, which is the bot ID. Okay, so what we'll do is this: we'll just return this whole thing. Okay, and here we'll just say return a promise which holds a string. Okay, so remember the string is the bot ID. Okay, right. So now to use this, we will add this into our create component here. Okay, so let me clean this up a little bit. I'm going to I'm going to leave the view child here, but I'm not going to use this. Okay, so what we can do is this. So now let me refresh this. Okay, so our kbot service is now a service provided provided by the kbot module. And what we do is this: we will treat it like a service by injecting it into our component through the constructor. Okay, so like this. Like that. Okay, so if you look here, the router and the activated route, these are services as well. These are built-in services provided by Angular, and this kbot service is our service. Okay, and remember the service is scoped to the to this module. What we do here is this: we can now say this kbot service add add, yeah, right, correctly, add card or add bot. Let me just see. Sorry, it's not. Okay, add bot. Kbot. Okay, so here kbot service add bot. Okay, and we will now pass in the bot, which is a partial kbot object. Okay, and then we can, just for the sake, we will just print out the bot ID, the primary key. Okay, and then we just say new bot ID. Okay, so if there is any error, we'll just dump it out. You can say console error. The error is from add bot. Okay, and finally we can finally want to perform some cleanup. And what we'll do is this: you just go at that. Okay, like so. Okay, so now let's try out our new functionality. Oh, okay, so I haven't added kbot. Let me just add kbot service. Kbot service. Okay. Right, so let me check if there's any error. Okay, no error. So let's try this. So notice that now the IndexedDB, let me just do a refresh. The IndexedDB is now. So what I'll do is this: I'll add two bots. My bot, okay, created by Fred, gmail.com. Okay, this is my first bot, and let's add some card. Okay, to do one. Let's go create. Okay, so now notice that in here, in the bot, we have our first bot. Okay, and also if you go back to console, we will see our bot ID. So this is 8 characters from the UUID, which matches this. Let's add another one. Okay, things to do this week, and okay, right, so let's go. Say I'm going jogging, so priority is high. Let's add another card. Okay, watch TV. Okay, and then we'll create one more. Now we do a refresh, and now I've got a second bot. Okay, and the nice thing about this is this: if I now close this guy, and I will go back to localhost 4200 again. Okay, and look at my bot ID. I'll see this bot here. Okay, so what I want to do is this: after I've created, let's create another one. Let's call this, the coming week. Okay. Okay, so let's just keep the card empty and just go like that. I've got a third one. What I want to do is this: every time when, okay, so now we got 3 things here, right? And what is happening currently is this: after we have added the bot, it goes back to this main page. So this is a kbot. All right. Let's go to Augury and look and look at the navigation again. Okay, so we are in create component, right? After we created the component, we go back to the main kbot. What I want to do is this: I would like to list all my bots here. Okay, just show the name of the bot here. Okay, so for that, I will add another method into my service, which just retrieves all my bot and display it here. So let's go back to the service. I will add one here, and this is just going to be a simple select all. So I'll just call getBots without any filters, and it's going to return a promise, okay, kbot, an array of kbot. And this is very simple. You just go return these bots to array. So that's it, right? Now we can go to the kbot, create kbot component. Sorry, not create kbot component. See, it's main kbot ts here, and we do the same thing. Okay, we go private kbot service, okay. And what I'll do is this: I'll add a method here. I'll add an attribute here called bots, which is of type kbot, an array of kbot, and initially it's going to be empty. Okay, I need to import that in. So let me just go kbot, set that in. Now in the ng-init lifecycle method, this method is called when Angular when this component is initialized. I will call this kbot service get bots, okay, and go 10. So these are my bots, and then I'll just assign it over to bots. Again, if there is any error, I'll just display the error. Okay, one more. Right? Now, to display the bots, what I'll do is this: I'll go main kbot component, they want the HTML. Okay, so here, we just clear that with that. I will add, let me just add a title here. Okay. Okay, too close to the top. Let's say margin top 4. Okay, good. What I'll do is this: I'll just duplicate that. Right? I don't want. Let's go 2. Okay, so this is what I'll do. I will create a list, and I'll use the Bootstrap's list group. Okay, I'll do this list group item, list group item action. Okay, like so. I'll list the names of the bot here. So since we have the bots in an array, we can use a loop to loop through that. Let me move this guy down. Okay, and we'll use the Angular ng4 structural component, structural directive, and we'll say let b of bots. So the bots, this bot is this bot attribute here. Okay, so now you can already see there are three items here. All we need to do is just list out the display the title, and we'll use the double curly brackets, which is the interpolation, and we'll just say b title, and we get the title. Okay, so I want all these title to be in uppercase. I will use a pipe. Oops. Let's see what's the error. Oh, uppercase. Okay, okay, uppercase, right? We can also, if you want to, also display the number of card in a bot, and we will use for that. I'm going to use the badges from Bootstrap. I'll use the yellow badge instead of the regular blue, and I want it to be a pill. Okay, like that. And then what I'll do is this, I'll just say the cards length. Okay, let's move this to the end here. What I'm going to do is this. So let me remove this href first. What I'll do is this, I'll go deflex, justify content between. Oops. Oh, spell wrongly. Deflex. Okay. I want to center this. So we'll go align items center. Okay, like that. Okay, so now we can click on, so we want to be able to click on these guys. Okay, so when we click on this, hopefully we will bring us to a page, a view where we can edit the existing, the contents of the bot. What we'll do is this, we'll make this clickable. Okay, we make this clickable. And what we'll do is that we'll go navigate to, if you recall, let's go back here. If you recall, our keyboard component extends from base component, and in the previous episode, we have consolidated all our navigation component into the base component. We are using this navigate to, right? So what we'll do is this. We will go back to here, and then we will say navigate to a route which we have not yet defined. I will say update, and then I'll append it with the bot ID, like so. Okay, right? So if I now click on this, you will now see an error because it's trying to navigate to kbot update. This is the bot module for this guy. Okay, let me clear this again. If I click on this, you see it's now trying to navigate to the kbot for this. And if I do this, it's going to try to navigate to this. But this route has not been defined. So that's why we are getting an error. Okay, so I will stop here. In the next episode, we will create a route for our updates, and we will use the kbot component again to allow us to edit the our content. Okay, so what I'll do now is this. I will save these guys, and I will check in. I'll check in into part 9. Okay, so see you next time. Stay safe.